it's live or not, so. Phone on volume real quick. One sec, let me just double check. We are actually on this live, so we are good to go. And we are live. Here we are. Welcome all to episode 3 of the Misfits Racing the Sit Down Talk Show. We have a lot to cover tonight. I'd like to welcome our Daytona truck winner, Full Pull.
Hello, everybody.
Would like to welcome my buddy Justin Watson, aka Cowboy Watson, who helped me on Thursday night. Thank you very much for joining, bud.
Good evening, folks.
And of course, we can't forget the winner of the 2 straight Daytona Xfinity winner and the owner himself, Matty Eyes. How we doing, Matty?
What's up, boys?
So Daytona was a great showing for every series, Cup, Xfinity, and Truck, and I think Cup had that one caution, and Cowboy Watson, I think you watched my stream. What did you see that wow, that surprised me?
Seems like with the Cups it was a little bit more of a smaller field than what we had for the trucks and the Xfinity, so a little bit more calmness. We had that one caution. It had a couple of drivers kind of verbally spitting with each other, but overall it was a good competitive race.
Yeah, Matty, what about you?
I actually wasn't in the Cup race, so got to really see much of it, but based off the points I'm looking at, there's a lot of big names down there that are going to be digging a hole out of a hole.
Speaking of, I believe, Dave, you just joined because we just started. Dave, I just asked about how Daytona went for Cup. How do you think Cup did?
I think we're good.
I think
Xfinity went awesome.
Hey, I was just about to get to Xfinity there. But yeah, Xfinity did really good. Matt, you picked up the win, and I talked to you. You said it felt great. You won you're won 4, maybe 3 Xfinity now, and you're top of the. You got your crown up on top of your head. I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, that's kudos to Dave. I didn't even know I had wins like that at Daytona or any type of plate track. I don't keep track of it. Dave's the stat man. He's got every stat you could think of. And then he posted that and he was like, hey, by the way, look at the page. And I was looking at and I'm like, oh man, I didn't even know me and RKM, which is kind of funny because the 2 owners were tied for Daytona wins. And it's even funnier because RKM hates plate tracks and I love them. And
so
we were tied. So it was complete opposite.
Oh, yeah, really it was. Cowboy Watson, you raced that race. I mean, given it was your first race, you almost got yourself a top 10, and then you had tire problems. I mean, what can we expect from, do you think you had a good race beyond that point?
To be honest with you, had I actually understood that I was on the wrong transmission, I actually felt like I could have done a lot better. Just rookie mistakes that I had in the Xfinity race, but it's easy things that I could easily clean up for the next restrictor plate being that we have Talladega at the end of the regular season. So just small rookie mistakes to clean up, but overall I felt like I did okay. Learned some stuff, was able to just stay out of the way. But there's still going to be a lot more for me to learn as I go along throughout the season.
Oh, 100%. And Dave, you are sitting right now second, 3 points behind Matty. I mean, what do you got to do to get that points lead going into Vegas this week?
Get out of trouble.
That's easier said than done,
Well, that is easier than said and done, but Dave, I mean, we got to be more specific about that one, bud.
Stay out of trouble. Hope Matty has trouble. That's it.
I mean, does that sound like a rivalry between Matty and Dave for that championship? Maybe with that.
There is a rivalry. I don't care how you say it. Okay, me and Dave, we are friends beyond belief. We've become more like brothers through the league. But when we're on the track, if I see that 7, I mean, I have no shame with giving him a little bump or a little move, and I know he does it right back to me. He put me in the high lane at Daytona, and I didn't want to be there.
Well,
You know? There is a rivalry with us, but we also know it's a game. We don't take anything serious.
Yeah, we're not
it's
here to
really, really fun. And I mean, the conversations that we have after the race is awesome. You know, sometimes it's like, sorry. Sometimes it's like, hey, go F yourself.
Yeah, I mean, jeez. But no, I think that was a great race. But Turnover did pick it up. I believe, did he get stage 1 or did he get stage 2? Because I know
Two.
when.
Yeah, he got stage 2.
Okay, so Turnover, I know he's not here, but I said he could join tonight, but he got stage points, and I'm telling you what, Turnover's a guy to watch out for this season, but going into Las Vegas, I believe that we're going to have maybe a first-time winner this week, or maybe like an OG get their victory, because that's where my head's going with. But, you know, those two Joe Gibbs cars were really good that last stint with Daly and Turnover. They worked so well. I watched, I was like, well, Dilly's giving him all he can, and I tell you what, those two could have been 1-2 at the end of that. I tell you what.
Well, it's just nice to see Dylan back.
It really is. You know what I think it is I thought Dilly was OG gamer. That's what I thought, because I looked back at my streams from years before, and I was like, oh my god, I thought that was Dilly because it was OG, but no, and I got confused with that. So, whoops.
Before we get too carried away, Nick, let's not forget, you're a cup guy for Misfits. How did your cup race go? How did your Daytona week go? What did you think of your race?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank Ziles real quick for helping me out a little bit during for a couple last stand of that laps. Me and him worked together really well, and I led, I believe, just one lap. And then I went up the track, and RKM even told me, he's like, dude, you left the bottom. I'm like, I know, I make that mistake, but I got a lot of work to do this week since it's New Hampshire this week. I believe I finished inside the top 3 the last 2 times at New Hampshire, and I think tomorrow is going to be a good day. And Maddie, I think you should run since it's a home track, bud.
Oh, the white
Wow. Great way to put him on the spot, Nick.
It's my birthday week, so to say. For some reason, my wife likes to make a week out of our birthdays in our house, and this is my week. So, I mean, I could
You can
be like, hey, I'm going to go down and play a game or something like that. But I that's where I break up the racing and the family time is when she's home. It's 100% family time. You know.
Absolutely.
You do what you want.
Yeah, 100%. Whenever I want to.
Well, it's Maddie's words. I do what I want.
Exactly, as long as she's not home.
Well, we all. Hey, I think for those that are married, I mean, Nick, you'll understand that one day.
Oh, thanks. That makes me feel a lot better. Thanks.
And I do have a couple other questions, and this goes to Full Pull and Cowboy. With you guys, this was your first like real taste of points racing for Misfits. Full Pull might have been was it your first race?
Yeah, first race.
So your first official, you were a late ad, but we got you in there and everything. So what do you guys feel? How do you guys look at it from, say, competition point of view, from the racing, from chat, everything? Like, how do you guys feel about the league now, and your runs?
Well, I'm gonna get Full Pull a floor first since he won the Daytona. Since he won his Daytona race, and then I'll go on.
That's impressive, man.
We'll get to that. I want to hear y'all's. I want to hear what those two have to say, and then we'll get to trucks. I want to hear those thoughts real quick.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. No, it's pretty cool. You guys got a pretty structured deal going on. You know, for a while I was racing pub lobbies, and that was pretty bad.
Public lobbies suck.
No, it's good, man. You get a hard. It kind of, as I say before, like play tracks are kind of a hard way to get a good understanding of like competition, because draft, like pack racing, is kind of hard to tell who's decent, if that makes sense. It's just really who can hold a straight line for the longest. Keep it on yellow. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to to run Vegas. Pretty wild. Got a Daytona win. Wasn't expecting that, but had a good time. It was fun.
Now let's go over to you, Cowboy Watson. What are your, how would you say if Maddie's words?
Well, as far as this was also my actual first league race as well. I hadn't done anything beforehand as well. I basically had just ran offline for the most part, because I can't deal with wreckers in the lobby. If I want to deal with the wreckers, I'll just mess with the AI and have Coil of Joy wreck me. But actually, as far as league racing goes, it seems like everybody's mostly laid back for the most part. Daytona, I was just on the wrong transmission. I do understand most of the tracks. I feel comfortable with the schedule that I have for the Xfinity going into the season. I think the Roval is going to be the one that's going to kind of make me go, let me get my points, get out. But everything else I'm starting to feel A-okay with. But it's just more of, as far as the racing goes, it's going to take me a little bit of time for me to figure out how everybody runs, because I'm more of a type that likes the 1.5 mile, 2 mile tracks, Dover, New Hampshire type area, type of tracks. It'll take me a little time to see how everybody runs on those type of tracks, to see, hey, do you run clean? Do you run me dirty? But overall, I feel comfortable with this group. I appreciate Maddie, for bringing me into this league. I appreciate it very much. You've done everything as far as feedback goes, and I look forward to not only sharing feedback with you, but getting advice from you throughout the season.
Yeah, whenever you need, man. You can honestly ask anybody. That's the one thing with Misfits. Everybody, Dave, Nick, they'll vouch for me. I mean, the main thing is remember, this is all for fun. There's no money on the line. We're grown men playing a video game. I say it all the time. But I mean, if you need help, feel free to ask.
Oh, absolutely.
I did tell you, though, flat out for Daytona that you'd be following me, and everybody would be following me.
I did tell him that. Saying, you guys, get license, go high. You go with me, no matter what.
If it wasn't for my gas mishap in stage 1, I thought I was going to be able to kind of learn a little bit more from you there, Maddie. But that was just a little mistake that I had with my screen as far as me seeing my gas goes. So it happens. But I'm looking forward to Vegas.
Nice.
And real quick, speaking of full pull, the Daytona winner, surprised me and Cowboy Watson really well, because he led so much and then made that last lap move, and boy, did that shocked me out of the blue. I was like, wow, I did not see a rookie winning his first race. That is unbelievable. That is really cool to see.
I would like to touch on that too, Nick. Full pull, congrats, man. That was an awesome. I watched it on the broadcast, and dude, I get why Nick and Cowboy got so excited, because that was an awesome move, dude. I don't think we've had a finish like that in Misfits in a long time.
Well, if you look at the interval, Matty, I think it was by a good couple feet, though. I think he got Corolla by a good...
Oh, yeah, it was close. It was close. And for you and Corolla to do the beating and banging like you did, and keep it fair. Keep it as a dogfight coming to the line. That's kudos to both of you guys. Because then there wasn't even anything in the chats. It was full on. That was just a good sportsmanship from both of you. And dude, you pulled off one of the biggest upsets probably I want to say in Misfits history, because that was very impressive.
That was, honestly, and given that, Jamie this past Thursday, he scored 3 playoff points and he swept the stages. Honestly, I almost called you Jamie. Matty, I was surprised because, he hasn't ran in so many seasons. He pulled off those stages. I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. He hasn't ran. And I tell you what, I think Jamie may be going to Atlanta.
Don't let Jamie fool you. He's been running. Back to full pull. This is your time, man.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's impressive that we've not had a repeat winner.
I've looked at those things you sent me, Dave, and you're right. I'm surprised.
In the truck series.
Mm-hmm.
That's quotations in trucks.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna in quotations with 2 thumbs on my back to back.
Hey, maybe
You know,
the
Dave,
next,
and then that series that we're fighting against each other in.
maybe we should get a T-shirt for you, Maddie, that says back-to-back Xfinity Series Daytona winner. That
2XL, send it to Connecticut.
the world's best dad
And how
ever.
much you guys listening?
Yeah.
No, but it was great. But Full Pool did a really good job on Thursday. Honestly, I was like, he had like a top 5, top 10 car that whole night, and I was like, if he doesn't have a top 5, he's got dang sure good top 10 car. But then surprised me, and I'm sure he surprised you too, Justin. I'm pretty sure.
I also have some questions in regards to that truck race as well, now that we've got Dave with us as well. I understand, Dave, that we had that you guys had to have a little bit of a review as far as that finish went on Thursday night.
Yeah, just a little bit. It didn't take long though. As soon as we seen that Pool went across the line ahead of Corolla, and we don't go by the reviews, but we go by what the game says. So,
Right.
I mean,
Well, also at the same time, did both gentlemen have legit reasons and rights to having claim to the victory as well?
well, if it goes to if the game says someone wins, that's the winner. I mean, there's nothing about it.
Here was the issue that we had with that. Was, there were pictures. However, there was no conclusive evidence that, say, Corolla was in front of Full Pole. Everything that I saw, everything that Dave saw, had Full Pole as the winner. And, I mean, deservedly so. Did you see those guys beating and banging? Coming through the trioval? That was awesome.
Yeah, that was insanely awesome.
was
Just
awesome.
a great way to cap off the speed weeks.
Exactly.
It was really great.
I mean, no, not really controversy, so to say. I mean, there was like could you look at this to see what you think type of deal? But at the end of the day, I mean, Full Pole, again, congrats. Hell of a run, dude. You got it. Another rookie winner at Daytona for Misfits.
I think I suggested probably in the broadcast he should have drove the 56 because, if you remember, man, that 56 truck can get to victory lane with a first-time winner anytime. I mean, I've done it. Turnover's done it. You've got so many guys who've done it, but I'm surprised he went with a Chevy. But, I mean, he should have went to the 56 because it would have been a whole lot sweeter.
Yeah, the list is long in that 56 truck.
But yeah, Full Pole, take us through your race, man. Let's hear it from your point of view. Let's hear your side. We've been hyping you up.
No, really just didn't expect it to be a fuel run at the end, but no, the only thing is make sure you keep draft at the end, and obviously coming off 4, I knew he was gonna block like anybody would, so kind of faked high and went low, and then just tried to stay on the yellow the best I could, but yeah, it was a good time.
For sure. And, this week, real quick, our tracks, tomorrow we're going to New Hampshire, as mentioned, and then Xfinity and trucks are headed to Las Vegas, given that Xfinity is going to be still that night race and trucks are going to be the night race. But, Maddie, going to Xfinity, you're probably going to have to fight like hell on Wednesday to hold off Dave for that points lead, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, I'm honestly right now. It's still so early into the season. We all know how this goes. I don't look at the only thing I care about points is that it gets me into the Final Four. That's the only thing that matters. I don't care how many points I have, how many wins, how many the only thing that matters is playoff points and getting to the Final Four. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about.
And just to reiterate on what you just said there, Maddie, I have some listeners that are out there that are also learning some of this stuff for the first time. Would you mind explaining how your point system works for the Xfinity Series by chance?
Oh yeah, not a problem at all. So Xfinity and Xfinity and Truck. Sorry, Cup runs the old school points. RKM, he does it the old school way. He's always done it like that. When me and him kind of got Misfits up and going, that was like I told him, take Cup, whatever you want to do with it.
Kind of like the old Winston Cup style back in the day.
The old Winston Cup back in the day. Whereas Xfinity and Truck, me and Dave kind of worked together, and we figured it as, so for the win, you get 40 points and a playoff point. So your playoff points come from if you get the pole, if you get a stage win, stage 1 and 2, the win of the race, and then the fastest lap. So each race has the option or the opportunity to have 5 playoff points is what's up for grab. Then the points for the race go stages. It's simple. It's if you get first, you get 10. You get second, you get 9. Third, 8, so forth, so forth. Then the end of the race comes. You win, you get 40, and then there's a 5-point gap to second, and then it's a point per position. If that helps clear it up.
That helps clear it up a little bit. And is there as far as playoff drivers being playoff eligible, what do drivers need to do as far as being able to maintain that type of eligibility?
So we have it right now as because you make a good point. You don't want to have a guy miss 6, 7 races, but yet he came in and won all the other races, and he's got all these points. And it's kind of like unfair type of deal. So what we've done is we've come up with like a 200, so to say, point. You have to have 200 points, and you have to at least race 10 races to be eligible for playoffs. So you can kind of look at it as if you got to show up. That's the main thing. Dave's said this numerous times. Showing up is 3/4 of like a points night, really. Because if you show up, guaranteed some kind of points. And then you can look at it as throughout the season, if you reach that 200-point threshold, you're pretty much in the playoffs.
That seems fair enough for our viewers out there to understand there.
It seems simple, doesn't it?
It really does, and I understand. And is it the same with trucks, or is it different due to the fact that it's an open series and there's more drivers involved?
That's you, Dave.
It's pretty much the same. I mean, you can have guys. That damn dog. You can have guys who just, run 3 or 4, and then they like. Maddie said they win, but that you got to show up.
Right.
I mean, if it came to it and we had to make the decision, okay, got to race half the season, and he has the 200 points, so has, say, 13 playoff points, that propels that guy. We will sit there and we're going to let you be in the playoffs, losing your playoff points.
So is this basically kind of like the NASCAR waiver that they instituted last season, basically?
Type of deal, yeah.
That's a fair deal, and that makes sense.
So it's like, okay, you missed a lot of races, you met the 200 points, but you have a ton of playoff points, so I'll let you run for a championship, but you're going to start from 0.
Right, and make them work their way up.
Yes, because you've missed X amount of races. You can't miss half the season and then be like, oh, I have it.
But that driver though could have that waiver, and we start our playoffs at Texas, and they could still be able to kind of climb themselves out of that hole.
Exactly. I mean, if you think about it, 200 points between the way that Dave and I run the points, it's not that hard.
No,
it's a few races. Because if, say you win, you sweep the stages and you win the race, that's 60 points.
Correct.
You know what I mean? You do that 4 times, that's going to put you close to it or over, right?
Puts you over at 240 right there.
Yeah, or 3 times, or whatever the case may be. If you go over the 200 in 3 races, and then you don't show up for the rest of the season,
that basically takes out all your playoff points that you basically earned.
Exactly.
I mean, perfect scenario is like last week. JP they ran the dash. He got 20 points on the board. Well, he failed to meet the race, so Oliver came in. But Oliver's only 1 point ahead of JP. So JPR can run the next 2 races, get up in points. You know, if somebody doesn't show, they're losing their points because somebody behind them is
making the races.
Yeah. And when it comes playoff time, you don't want to miss a race. It can kill you.
Absolutely. And
yeah, the way we do it with 2 races per round, I mean, if you miss one race, you gotta hope and pray for a perfect race, and hope that others have a hard time.
Yep.
Well, that's a lot of explaining, isn't it?
That helped clear.
it's educational. It's educational learning, Nick.
By the way,
Yeah,
I
like
wanted
right now, if you actually look at Xfinity points, there's a couple big names in Xfinity that weren't able to make the race for Daytona. Tiff, G-Pre, those guys are they're in a hole, but they're not in a hole, if that kind of makes sense. Because yes, they missed Daytona, but Tiff and G-Pre they're OGs. These guys have been in Misfits for a long, long time. I know they're going to show up. I'm not worried about them missing any races. They should be able to work their way back up. But the one thing that we try to do, me, RKM, and Dave have kind of figured it out, is just do the points. And points will settle everything
Absolutely.
by themselves. Like, without even having to really put the work into it, you do the points, and, okay, so I'm top right now, but I miss the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna fall. I'll fall down to where it's like, okay, now I'm and I gotta dig myself out.
Like a rock.
Exactly.
Like a rock.
Yeah. So we try to do it as even and easy. The main thing is the KISS method. Stupid. You do that, everything falls into place. And then when you got a guy like Dave who just has the stats that you could think of for a freaking league, it's really unbelievable. It really makes it easy, because all of a sudden I'm looking and I could be, we could bring up a driver, hey, by the way, Matty is 4th in points, but he's missed 7 races.
Yep.
That type of deal, He was definitely our pit bull on that. He's on the helm with, hey, this is his 3rd race. We don't know what's going on. That's another rule we have. You miss 3 races and you don't let an admin know,
it could result in a possible removal of the league from the league.
Yeah. It's simple. Just, we don't need the whole backstory. We don't need anything like that. I mean, if you feel comfortable telling us the backstory and everything, we'll listen. I mean, the other thing we'll do is listen. But it's as simple as just, I can't make it these next couple weeks.
Right.
Okay. All right. We know Full Pull ain't going to be here the next couple weeks, but he's let us know, so we're not worrying about having to get on him.
Right, because basically, I think we had an issue with that with one of our rookies that was going to run this season. Then our work schedule kind of messed with him a bit. I'm not going to name names, but I'll just state that we had.
It's just simple. It's really simple. Just say, hey, it doesn't take but a minute. Hey, I got some things going on. I'll miss this week, maybe next week as well. Is that okay? Yep. Boom. You're fine.
That makes a lot of sense now to explain from them instead of explaining to you, because I would have to ask these two. They're just not willing to tell you.
On the other side of that, if you're a rookie in trucks and you got a lock by your name, that means you're locked in for the next race, no matter what. But if you're a rookie that hasn't got a hold of an admin, you're got a lock by you that somebody else could actually get in.
Right.
And so after 3 races, you ain't said nothing. That's the lock coming off. that person's out of the sign up, that means that it opens up a spot for a non-locked driver.
Well, that could really throw a lot of things into play then in that case.
Yes, it could. And we've seen that.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
But I wanted to point out, but I wanted to say, going into tomorrow, GU won last week at Daytona. But given that the Michigan boys are kind of turning up again in this season, going into season number 12, they finished 1, 2, 3 once again, like they've done the last couple weeks in last season. I'm telling you what, those Michigan boys are hard to beat if you're in Cup. Tell you what, if you are JPR or RKM or Mike or someone, we got to find a way to stop them, because we cannot allow those 3 Michigan boys to finish 1, 2, 3, because it is insane.
Here's the thing.
I think there's a rivalry between them 3 anyway. So
yeah, there's definitely something between them 3.
It seems like
they can be beat. They can be beat. It can be done.
Yeah, just call Keystone and say, hey, come out of retirement.
I've seen guys pass
the reinforced.
I mean, we saw a rookie able to get by one of them at Daytona the Truck Series for the win. They work well together, and they can be beaten.
But you gotta realize that some people are good. It is annoying to see them up front most of the time. It's like, all right, how are we gonna stop these guys? It's not gonna be easy, but we gotta find a way.
But at the same time, that's where competitiveness needs to come out. It's not, okay, dang, these guys are in, I gotta, it's you have to turn it into, what do I have to do to compete with those guys? And once you do that, you'll notice you start to get better in certain places. There's no way I would have ever thought at Kansas down Corolla, and I did, and then him and I had a great 5-6 lap battle back and forth.
You got to think strategy too. What can I do to get ahead? I mean, it's a lot.
It's not always about
when you're driving a race. Yeah.
Let's see what else. I mean, that is one thing we gotta watch out for in Cup this season, because those guys have somehow, some way. I mean, when did you start having the all 3 series into play? Where one, it was wasn't that season 3 where Misfits became a whole, where on Tuesdays now we run Cup, Wednesdays Xfinity, and then trucks are on Thursday. When did you start that, season 3, Maddie?
Season 3.
Yeah, yep.
So RKM has been here since season 3, and I know that he had that mojo to start with. I think he needs to get that mojo back, because we need to see something. We need to get to see who needs to get there. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at points. I mean, those points are really good. Only 10 guys in the points right now who have those points, and going into tomorrow is a short track. It's going to be a long race tomorrow, given it's 75 laps at New Hampshire, and those tires go down pretty fast, and the fuel goes down, and you're just like, it's going to be a lot tomorrow.
Yeah, and just a quick backstory on that. When you say RKM has been here since season 3, he's actually been here since the beginning. As some people know, a lot of people don't know. When I really started as dirt late. We didn't have any. It was all with the dirt series, and then kind of grew on. Me and RKM have been talking. I'm like, let's see what we can do with this. I want you to come over with me and help me run an asphalt side of it. So then we threw, I think it was dirt and trucks in. For season 3, that was the beginning of the asphalt, and then after that it just kind of skyrocketed, and I was like, okay, dirt is completely out of the question now, because now we can. I had so many people talking to me about running that it was like, okay, let's do Truck Xfinity Cup, and everything took off.
And no need for the boosters at that point.
Yeah. So RKM, he's been with me since day one when it comes to like the misfits type of deal. That was like 6 years ago.
And I think I think when Jacob got a hold of you, Maddie, I think that was maybe around season 3 or 4 when I jumped in, started broadcasting, and then I think I texted Arkham or someone, I can't remember who it was. I said, hey, I might jump in because watching you guys when you guys were racing, I was like, these guys look really professional, and I want to compete on a week-to-week basis. And I've been here for like a good chunk of maybe 7 to 8 seasons, and like I said, I have a championship under my belt, and sure, that's great and all, but broadcasting is awesome to do, and that's why I decided to step down from trucks and say, hey, I'm going to go to the broadcasting trucks because I've already got me a win. I should have gotten more, but I have a championship, so it doesn't really hurt my feelings that I'm not in trucks. It doesn't suck to watch these guys do it every Thursday night, yeah, but I'm enjoying watching them now and saying, hey, what do I see on the broadcast that maybe we could see in from the high views, I mean, it's been a great ride up in trucks, but now it's time for me to pass the baton to someone else. And like Keystone did, like he retired after last season, and he's got family and stuff like that, and he's got other things to do. And it's been a great last 11 seasons because we're on season 12. But I think it's been a great last 11 seasons in this league. It's been really amazing, honestly, in my opinion. Now, given that tomorrow, like I said, Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday are truck and Xfinity. Dave, I'm going to pass this over to you real quick. Xfinity you're still looking for that win. I tell you, can you gamble and get that win? I'm telling you, Las Vegas is one of the tracks to save fuel, and God knows, everyone knows you love to save fuel and tires.
Well, it's just to go back to the previous question. If you go back in the history of MRL and you scroll all the way back on the page, I've done it all day today trying to find the Final Four, and the names that are in there are just, man, I mean, they're Romo, just to name a few, Romo, old guy,
Batman.
Go with the flow, Batman, just several guys that I wish they'd come back because it was so much fun, and it still is. But to see that level of competition rise is just unreal.
It really is, and like I said, when I first started broadcasting, I had no idea who any of those guys were, and I had no clue of who they were. I mispronounced names at times, and I was so confused. And you said we had Romo, Batman, old guy. Old guy was one of the guys to compete for a win week in and week out, and I didn't think he was. I didn't predict him most of the times. I mean, because I think he was near the back of the field, maybe near the front. But then you had Schwilly as well, was a great guy. I love the guy. He was such a great guy to like joke around, being towards the back of the field and being a field filler. And what was another Schwilly?
There's just so many guys when you go back and look at it, and you see the progression that we've done, that MRL has done. Jamie used to do the ride-ups. Matty did the ride-ups. RKM did some ride-ups. I mean, it's amazing to just go back and look. I think anybody can look at the entire page, and it's just something I've been doing today and looking at old races. I mean, there was some great racing even back then. I mean, there was me and Piff battling for a championship at Homestead. That was a great race. I can't even imagine to tell you what were the great races and what wasn't. But it's really cool to go back and look at some of that stuff.
Right, and I mean, look back 3 years ago. I'm looking right now. The very first broadcast that was ever raced, and I was a part of it. We had 21 guys. We had 20 guys that night. The first race at Daytona, and I'm pretty sure May remembers that one. I think because we had like a big field, and then now we lowered that to 16, and it's just like wow, that was like so many guys and putting all the perspective and everything. And what's funny is that I think me and Delgado used to do before. We didn't know about this until I forget who told us, but I think it was either Maddie or RKM was like, okay, you don't join yet, and we joined many times, and then they had to remake the lobbies, and then they said, don't join, and we did it again. Whoops, and then the third time a charm, and they were like, don't join.
That's the learning process.
It was
just a minute to get it right, but we got it right.
It was funny as hell, though, Maddie. It was funny. I was like, I didn't want us to do that right away, but I mean, Matt, you remember me joining right away. I was like, I didn't know most of y'all until, it was great, though.
You got some people that like to mess with you, aka exiles, that who likes to send invites to a dirt race, and you're waiting on a cup race or a trick race.
And Miles will just throw you off the track.
Well, you can always, if you want to be smart and say, hey, yeah, I'll join that one. It's just a troll one. But Xiles he's a great guy. And he's got other guys who've been in here who, we all joke around most of the time. Yes, we get heated most of the times, but then at the end of the day, like Maddie said, we're all playing a video game. We're all grown men here playing a game, for crying out loud.
It took me one race to realize don't accept nothing from McGraw.
The other thing you got to know too is like the OGs of Misfits are the ones who have paved the way, who have helped get everybody else in, who have made it to where guys like Cowboy, you can join, Full Pull can join. We can bring all these new guys in. Like when the only person that is still running with me, I want to say from day one, is Piff.
That's where
Piff with me, as like me and him came from another league, and I got a hold of him, and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about starting like a little late model thing, and he's like, do it, I love it, the idea, I love it, everything like that. That's when I found out you don't mess with Piff in a late model, because that was insane.
Well, then you got Maniac as well.
And then we had Maniac. He kind of came through the works with all of that. And, the guys that we've had, it's the way that we've built up Misfits, I try to say, yeah, we all butt heads and everything like that, but at the end of the day, it's like a brotherhood type of deal. If you've got something going on, you can easily hop in that chat, put something out there, and we're all gonna, try to lift your spirits up, or whatever the case may be. Or, for Dave, for example, I had some stuff, Dave, I was able to talk with Dave, and it doesn't have to be in the league. You can send those private messages and have that type of relationship, which is what I wanted with Misfits.
That's why sometimes whenever I joke around with Turnover, I just private message him, or we all joke about, it still gets me funny to this day. Whenever any race at Daytona, or remember last week at Daytona, everyone's all blaming me. Thanks for the rain. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do about it? It's a joke. I mean, it's not personal. We're not going to actually do something stupid and just do all that stuff, but we joke around with each other. Like Manny said, it's a brotherhood. Now, like, I'm looking back at the very first broadcast that got streamed, that raced, Sports was on the pole. That's still insane. For the first race that I ever broadcasted for this league, Sports getting a pole, never thought crossed my mind. Never. With Swilly on the front row, never thought that would happen.
Really, that's an old school name.
Oh my gosh. He was amazing.
Nick started the same exact way as you. You're new, you wanted to hop in to try the broadcasting and everything.
Well,
And
you remember Delgado got a hold of you and said, "Hey, he texted you saying, "Hey, we got a league," and he texted me right back. He's like, "Hey, there's a league who needs broadcasters." I was like, "Okay, let's do it." And we started there, and then look where we've been since. And
and then he dipped, and you stayed.
Well, just to reiterate on that, Matty, I used to broadcast Madden, my Madden leagues before. A couple of I had some OGs in my Madden league that unfortunately had gotten old, passed away, and stuff, and we stopped doing the league because it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And I hadn't done any type of broadcasting for a while, and then when I saw that Nick didn't really have nothing for trucks, I'm like, that's an opportunity for me to get back into something again.
I mean, honestly, you can ask anybody. I've always been with Nick. I'm like, dude, if you want to broadcast. If you want to try to get something, Nick's been the one that's tried to get this broadcasting thing for Misfits going since forever. And I've always told him, like, dude, if you want to do it, do it. If you can't, it's not a big deal. If you want to race instead of broadcasting, I don't care.
That's
but now he's done the whole broadcast team side of everything is really Nick. Right. And that's why I told you when you said you were thinking about commentating trucks with Nick, I was like, well, you got a good guy to do it with, because Nick does, not tooting your horn, Nick, I would never do that, but Nick does know the drivers. He knows the moves that they're going to make, he knows the names, the driving styles, everything like that. Nick, he pays attention and has that figured out, and he's got the broadcast side of it figured out.
I mean, I'm just stoked in itself. We had 100 views for our truck race on YouTube.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
And we would like to, I don't know what the most viewed stream ever that we've had for Misfits, but we'd like to get it out and get more people, just watching.
It didn't touch 100.
Well, well, before Xfinity and Truck, the last one that hit nearly there was 75, and that was I think that was season 6 Xfinity at Martinsville, and then before it was that charity race. I don't know if you remember that, Matty. It was back in Kansas. It was the charity race. It was really special. Yeah. And then we had that season 6 Martinsville race that I think I broadcast or someone broadcasted it.
Which was another thing that was really cool. You know how awesome it was to cut that check and send it to those guys?
That was something cool we used to do, where if something we used to do charity races or we always did something I mean, you could ask Maddie or Dave, if someone had a family member that passed away or it was their birthday or something, you could run a tribute race, and it was not really a tribute race, a tribute car or whatever, It was so great, tributing that person, and it was just amazing seeing seeing someone saying, "Oh, we're representing," and I think I don't know, I think RKM represented someone. I forget who he represented, but I know it was a blue car or something. But that was really cool with all those custom cars. When I first started, they ran custom cars in Cup, Truck, and Xfinity, and I was like, okay, I got, RKM's a 21, Keystone's a 2, and then everyone's driving these different numbers. I'm like, okay, well, what numbers are what? And when May said, oh, we're going to go to game cars, I'm like, oh, well, that stinks, because I had some cool cars I wanted to use. But, I mean,
that was back when the servers were good and we could do that. Now, let's say you're taking off the charity, that was for the St. Jude race.
Yep, that was
and we all did up our cars as some type of cancer awareness color. That was awesome. And then writing a check for $350 coming from a little league to send, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's really especially for a good cause.
Even if it's not a $10,000 check or something, $350 is going to help no matter what.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And it's like you touch on it perfect. It's not thousands of dollars of check, but it's
something.
it's something from a little group that just looked at this charity and was like, I mean, we had guys donating for that didn't even race. I want to say Michael, he's an OG in here now. I want to say he put in like 50, 75 bucks, and he didn't even run. He was just like, I love the idea.
And I always tell people, I'm always like, so I always tell people, I'm like, why don't we have good ideas and stuff like that? So why don't we, that's why I tell you, Matty, or I tell you, Cowboy, or I tell you, Dave, I'm like, hey, if you got ideas for something I should do or we should do in the broadcast, let me know so we can point it out or say, hey, this is something new, what we're going to do in a broadcast or what we're going to do here and there. And it's just, I love new ideas. It's great. It's amazing.
All we gotta do is make sure we get those sponsors out in the broadcast.
I think
Absolutely.
I hope I got them all covered.
Beneath the Egg podcast and Pinhooks.
And I think I have an idea that I'd like to do for our pre-race show, Nick. And since you are a former truck champion, if we could try to squeeze it in, because Matty kind of wants us to do the pre-race a little bit more closer towards race time, we'll try to do a segment called a lap with the champ. A lap.
Not a bad idea.
Well, I mean, I remember.
And what we'll do, Nick, is we'll have you get in your truck, and I'll explain and as you're riding around, I'll explain to some of the people at home what you're doing in that truck, and especially with Sonoma and Road America, we can explain to them the braking zones.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Anything. He is not the guy you want to put for.
Do not put me on road unless it's Watkins Glen. Unless it's Watkins Glen, I can
My
probably.
5-year-old will drive the truck faster than Nick at any of them.
Oh my goodness! If your 5-year-old can drive faster than Nick at a road course, then we've got some issues, Nick.
I guarantee you, my 5-year-old will beat Nick at Road America.
Oh my gosh, I lost him. No,
He lost his confidence now. Don't be careful, Manny. Let's not kill him now.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we had trophies a couple times. We've had trophies in season 9, and yet hopefully we get those trophies from season 10. Because I'm still looking
We
at
will be. Our guy is he's going through some rough stuff. He's going through some rough stuff. I mean,
I know. I'm just saying, man. It's been season 10, man. I'm still trying to find a place to put this dang trophy. I ain't putting it on my PS5. No way. No.
I'll tell you where you can stick that trophy.
Yeah, I can too.
I know where, and we're not gonna say it on the air, but I know where exactly where.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this PG.
Yeah.
But
I'll private message you where you can shove it.
You don't have to tell me, Twy. I know exactly where it is. But I'm telling you.
Well, no, that's going.
But yeah.
Send him to the wall.
No, but this has been a great league for me and all of these other guys, and we've gotten guys. Matty's pointed out good, or Dave pointed out good how we had guys who came in here who started out here and then left and then came back and left. It's just. These guys are amazing. Honestly, these guys put on a great show week in and week out. Any series at all. I mean, you look at the last couple seasons, it's been amazing. And, kudos to Matty for putting this league out in the Facebook community and the PlayStation community saying, hey, if you're interested, please let me know and I'll get you a seat ride or I'll do this. And, he provides the best rate. He puts out great racing for league racing. I'm telling you, it is amazing putting it in the league out.
I mean, we've had to turn away people because we're full.
Yeah,
sure.
This season, numerous people. Me and Dave, I can't tell you how many days there's been. Dave, I've got 2 getting hold of me. Dave, I got 4 getting hold of me. And we're doing this at this point. We've done this full. So, into season 12, I want to say I a lot for a league. I think RKM has said it on the sit down there. To have 12 seasons with a league is you don't get that.
No, I mean.
No, especially with a lot of the same guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we kept. I mean, guys, if they stop racing, real life took over.
Right. Oh yeah. But another thing, I don't know if you remember, and Matty probably does remember this, we used to do SRX as well as a league. I remember that we used to do that right after, I think it was on a I think it was a Monday night. We used to run that, and then it was a SRX, Cup, Xfinity, and then trucks, and it was.
On PlayStation period.
Yep.
Someone
And then my
stole
kids started
Cicada.
getting older, and it was like,
Cool.
I can't at the time into this anymore.
Fula
But
just.
that's where I can also come in and say, you know, that's thanks to my admins, because without those guys, I mean, we wouldn't. There's no way I could do all this solo. Like, this isn't just me. Like, scene type things, many people see or hear about, but at the end of the day, my admins are the ones that are full control with everything.
Oh, sure. I mean, you have admins who, you know, if you have something if you need help with anything, you have admins to ask for. But what's funny is that whoever's got that, fucking.
Well, just to go show you,
But
bunch
I'm
of
just.
dudes.
No, but I wanted to say it's been a great 12 seasons in the making in this league. This league has been really amazing, given that Maddie's been doing this since day one. Like you said, it's been a great 12 seasons, and I hope once this new game comes out, we'll hope to stick together to the very end. And I tell you what, it's been very fun. And I want to say, I think we should end it on a positive note because it is getting ready to be 9 o'clock. Most of us got to get up for work and get ready, and I know Maddie's got to get ready because he's got to get up at like 3 in the morning. But with
Tomorrow I get to sleep, but I do got to go get blood work. So.
Yep.
Well,
So
I hope the new game has more people we can get in, so that would be a
oh
plus.
sure,
Absolutely.
absolutely. With that,
To act dirt league back grinning squinting face second.
Piff just said that.
Patty and Nick's mom.
Well, Piff just told you. Okay, well, never mind, Maddie. I was going to text him. But with that being said, thank you, Maddie, for joining tonight's thing. Dave, thank you so much for tuning in. Justin Watson, thank you so much. This is amazing. I mean, we'll be doing this probably every Monday because I can't do Fridays. So,
Yeah, have a good night. Hope to see you at track.
yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
Want to thank our sponsors, Printaholics, Mustang Makers, and the third one was Beneath the Oak, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. With that being said, we'll see you Wednesday night for Xfinity at Las Vegas. Deuces.